Have you ever felt like the world is starting to move just a little bit faster than you are? Maybe you've noticed the grandkids don't call quite as often as they used to. Or perhaps your favorite recliner is starting to feel more like a cage than a comfort. We spend our whole lives working hard, building a home, and looking forward to these golden years. But what if I told you that some of our most common habits are actually pushing away the people we love? What if a few simple words or a few specific places are actually making you feel older and more tired than you really are? I am a life coach, and I have seen so many people transform their lives just by knowing what to leave behind. Today, we are uncovering the 3 things you should never say, the 3 things you must stop doing, and the 3 places you should avoid. This is not about being old. This is about staying strong and staying connected. Let's begin. 3 things not to say. 1. Back in my day, we did things better. We have all been there. You are sitting at the Thanksgiving table, or maybe you are watching the news with your son, and you see something that just doesn't make sense to you. Maybe it is the way people dress, or how they are always staring at those glowing phone screens, or perhaps it is the way they work from home instead of going into an office. The words just bubble up, don't they? Back in my day, we actually talked to each other. Or, back in my day, we knew the value of $1. Now, stop for a second. Let's think about what that phrase actually does. To us, it feels like we are sharing wisdom. It feels like we are honoring our history. But to the person listening, especially if they are younger, it sounds like a door slamming shut. When we say things were better in the past, we are indirectly saying that the world our children and grandchildren live in today is worse. We are dismissing their entire reality. We are creating a us versus them barrier. In the world of psychology, we call this fostering a generational divide. It signals that you are no longer a part of the present. It says that you have checked out and moved back into your memories. And here is the danger. When people feel judged or dismissed, they stop sharing. If your granddaughter thinks you will just compare her life to 1974, she might not tell you about her new job or her new friends. She doesn't want a lecture. She wants a connection. I remember my friend Martha. Martha is a wonderful woman, 75 years old, with a heart of gold. She used to call me, sounding so lonely. She would say, "My grandkids only stay for 10 minutes. Then they find an excuse to leave." We sat down and looked at how she talked to them. Every time they mentioned a new app or a new way of dating, Martha would sigh and say, "Back in my day, we did things the right way." She didn't mean to be mean. She just missed her youth. I challenged Martha to try something different. I told her, "The next time they visit, treat them like you are an explorer in a foreign land. Ask them to show you their world." She tried it. Instead of the old phrase, she said, "I have noticed that things are so different now. It's fascinating. Can you explain to me how you handle that these days?" The change was like magic. Her grandson actually sat down on the sofa, pulled out his phone, and spent an hour showing her how he makes music on his computer. He felt respected. He felt like his grandmother was interested in him, not just in her own past. Martha realized that being a student of the present is much more fun than being a critic of the future. So, let's let go of that phrase. Let's trade. Back in my day. Tell me more about how that works. It's a small shift, but it opens up a whole new world of conversation. 2. I am just an old dog who cannot learn new tricks. This is one we often say with a little laugh. We use it when we can't figure out the remote control, or when someone suggests we try a new hobby like pickleball or a painting class. It's a bit of self-deprecating humor. We think it makes us look humble or relatable. But I want you to listen closely to me now, because this is important. Words have a physical effect on your brain. Every time you tell yourself and the world that you are too old to learn, your brain listens. There is a beautiful thing called neuroplasticity. Scientists used to think that the brain stopped changing after we grew up, but now we know that is simply not true. Your brain is like a muscle. It can grow new connections. It can learn new languages. It can adapt to new technology, even at 90 years old. But that muscle needs exercise. When you say, "I can't learn new tricks," you are giving your brain permission to stop trying. You are putting yourself in a cage of your own making. This fixed mindset is one of the quickest ways to let cognitive decline slip in. If you stop challenging your mind, the mind starts to lose its edge. I think of a man I worked with named Robert. Robert was a retired shop teacher. He was brilliant with his hands, but he was terrified of anything with a screen. He would tell everyone at the senior center, "Oh, don't ask me. I'm just an old dog. I'm too far gone for all this high-tech stuff." Because of that belief, he was missing out on so much. His daughter lived in Seattle, and he was in Florida. He hadn't seen his new great-grandson in person yet. He was waiting for printed photos to come in the mail. One day, we had a heart-to-heart. I told him, "Robert, you aren't an old dog. You are a master craftsman. This tablet is just a new kind of tool. It's like a specialized saw you've never used before." We stopped using the old dog phrase. Instead, we started saying, "This is a new challenge, and I am going to give it a fair shot." It took a few weeks. There were some frustrations. Sure, but Robert kept at it. He stopped insulting his own intelligence. He started seeing himself as a learner again. I will never forget the day he called me, not on the landline, but on a video call. He was beaming. He held up the tablet and showed me his great-grandson crawling on a rug in Seattle. He told me, "I guess this dog still has some fight in him." You see, when you stop telling the world you're too old, you start feeling younger. Try saying this instead. "This is new to me, so it might take me a little longer, but I am going to figure it out." Give yourself grace, but don't give up. Your mind is a miracle. Don't let a silly phrase tell you otherwise. 3. I told you so. This third one. It is a tough one to give up. By the time we reach 60 or 70 or 80, we have seen a lot of life. We have seen people make the same mistakes over and over again. We have a lot of experience, and often, we can see a train wreck coming from a mile away. When a friend or a grown child ignores our advice and things go wrong, that little voice inside us wants to say, "I told you so." We want to say it because it makes us feel relevant. It makes us feel like our wisdom was right all along. It's a way of saying, "See, you should have listened to me. I still know what I'm talking about." But let's be honest for a moment. Has anyone in the history of the world ever felt loved after hearing the words, "I told you so"? No, never. What they feel is shame. They feel judged. They feel like a child being scolded by a parent. And when adults feel that way, they pull away. They stop coming to you for advice because they are afraid of the "I told you so" that might come later if things don't work out. True wisdom is a quiet thing. It doesn't need to shout to be right. It doesn't need to prove itself. When you use your experience as a weapon to prove a point, you aren't being a mentor. You are being a judge. I remember a woman named Sarah. She was in her late 60s. Her daughter had invested some money in a business that Sarah knew was a bad idea. Sarah had warned her, but the daughter didn't listen. A year later, the business failed, and the daughter lost a lot of her savings. Sarah came to me and said, "I want to tell her I told her so. I want her to know I was right so she listens next time." I asked Sarah, "What do you want more, to be right or to have a daughter who feels safe talking to you? Sarah stayed quiet for a long time. She realized that her daughter was already hurting. She didn't need a lecture, she needed a mother. So, Sarah didn't say it. When her daughter finally called, crying and upset, Sarah just listened. She said, "I am so sorry you are going through this. It sounds really hard. I am right here for you. If you want to sit down and brainstorm a way through this, just let me know," by not saying, "I told you so." Sarah built a bridge. Her daughter felt supported, not small. And you know what? A few months later, when the daughter had a new decision to make, she came to Sarah and asked, "Mom, what do you think? I really value your perspective. That is the goal, isn't it? We want to be the person our loved ones turn to, not the person they hide from. So, the next time you are tempted to claim your victory, just take a breath. Hold that thought instead of, 'I told you so.' Try. I'm here to help you figure out the next step. 3 things not to do. 1. Do not neglect functional movement just to stay comfortable. I know how it feels. It is a rainy Tuesday morning. Your knees feel a bit stiff. Your back has that familiar little ache. And that big, soft recliner in the corner is calling your name. It is so easy to say, "I will just stay here today. I will be comfortable. I will move tomorrow." But here is the truth, and I say this with so much love. Settling into a lifestyle where you only move when you absolutely have to, it is a trap. It is a very comfortable trap, but it is a trap nonetheless. In the medical world, they have a saying, "Use it or lose it." It is a reality. When we stop moving, our muscles begin to thin out. They become weaker. Our balance, that steady feeling when we walk on the sidewalk, starts to fade. And as we know, in our later years, a simple trip or a slip can change everything in a heartbeat. Movement is not about running a marathon. It is about functional movement. It is about keeping the machine oiled and ready. I remember a gentleman named James. James is 70 years old. He used to be so active. He loved hiking and working in his yard, but slowly, he started choosing the chair over the garden. He told me, "The world feels like it is shrinking, Doc. My knees are just too stiff to go anywhere." He felt stuck. He felt like his body was closing a door on him. We decided to try a very small change. No gyms, no heavy weights, just 15 minutes of movement every morning, a few slow stretches while the coffee was brewing, a walk down to the mailbox at the end of the driveway, maybe a stroll to the local park to watch the birds. James told me later, "I realized that the more I moved, the more I could move." It was a cycle. By committing to those small, daily movements, he regained his strength. Last month, he actually took his wife on a trip to the mountains. They didn't climb any peaks, but they walked the trails together. They saw the sunset. So, please, do not give in to the recliner every day. Find your own stealth exercise, garden for 20 minutes, try some gentle chair yoga, walk around the block and wave to your neighbors. Keep your heart pumping, keep your joints lubricated. Movement is the key to staying independent. It is the key to keeping your world large and full of color. 2. Do not hoard the just-in-case clutter. We Americans, we have a history of saving things. We have garages full of old tools. We have attics full of boxes. We have kitchen drawers filled with gadgets we haven't used since 1995. We tell ourselves, "I might need this someday," or "This is too good to throw away." But I want you to think about the cost of that clutter. Physical clutter in your home creates mental fog in your mind. It is a heavyweight that you carry every day, even if you don't realize it. And more importantly, it is a safety issue. A stack of old magazines, a rug that doesn't lie flat, a box sitting in the hallway. These are tripping hazards. They make your home a place where you have to be careful. instead of a place where you can be free. Psychologically, living in a home that is a museum of the past can keep you from enjoying the now. It keeps your eyes looking backward instead of looking at the beautiful day right in front of you. I want to suggest a new habit. It is a gentle way of organizing. Some people call it legacy cleaning. It is the practice of organizing your life so that your children and loved ones don't have to do it later. It is a gift to them and a gift to yourself. Try the one in, one out rule. If you buy a new sweater, find an old one to donate to a local charity. Or dedicate just one Saturday a month to clearing out one small area, just one drawer, just one shelf. I had a reader named Susan who did this. She spent 30 years collecting old Sears catalogs and magazines in her attic. She told me she felt guilty about letting them go, but one day, she finally did it. She hauled them all to the recycling center. She sent me a letter afterward. She said, "I feel like I can finally breathe again." I walked into that empty attic, and I felt a sense of lightness I haven't felt in decades. When you let go of the just-in-case items, you are making room for new memories. You are making your home safer. You are making your mind clearer. Do not let your stuff own you. You are the master of your home. Let it be a place of peace, not a place of clutter. 3. Do not isolate yourself just to avoid being a burden. This last one, it touches my heart deeply. I hear it so often from the seniors I work with. They say, "Oh, I didn't go to the church potluck because I didn't want to bother anyone for a ride." Or, "I didn't call my daughter because she's so busy. I don't want to be a burden on her." Please, listen to me. This thought, this idea that you are a burden, it is a lie. It is a lie that your mind tells you when you are feeling a little lonely. Isolation is dangerous. Our Surgeon General has said that loneliness is as harmful to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It makes our hearts weaker. It makes our minds cloudy. It can lead to deep sadness. When you withdraw from your friends and your family, you aren't helping them. You are depriving them of your wisdom, your stories, and your love. Your family wants to hear from you. Your neighbors want to see your face. The replacement habit is simple. Aim for 2 social touch points every week. Just 2. It could be a coffee date at the local shop. It could be a volunteer shift at the hospital or the library. It could be a brief chat over the fence with the person next door. Or simply pick up the phone, call a friend, say, "I was just thinking about you and wanted to say hello." You are a vital part of your community. You have lived through so much. You have seen so much change. And that experience is a treasure. Do not hide it away. I know a woman named Betty. She stopped going to her bridge club because she felt she couldn't keep up with the conversation anymore. She stayed home for 6 months. She became very quiet. She stopped laughing. Finally, her daughter sat her down and said, "Mom, we miss you. The grandkids miss your stories. Please, don't pull away from us." Betty started small. She joined a local walking group for seniors. She met 2 other ladies who lived just a few blocks away. Now, they meet for tea every Thursday. Betty told me, "I realized I wasn't being a burden. I was being a friend, and I needed them just as much as they needed me." 3. Places not to go. 1. The echo chamber of complaint. We all know this place. It might be a specific table at the local donut shop, or maybe it is a certain group on Facebook. It is a place where the air is thick with grievances. The primary topic of conversation is always about what is going wrong. People talk about their latest illness. They talk about their aches. They talk about how the world is going to the dogs. I call this the organ recital. Everyone takes turns reciting what part of their body is failing them today. Now, don't get me wrong. It is important to have friends who understand our health struggles. But when that is all you talk about, It becomes a trap. Negativity is contagious. It really is. When you sit in that echo chamber, your stress levels go up. You start to see yourself as a victim of time. You start to feel older and more frail than you actually are. Instead, look for what I call life-giving spaces. Seek out the local library or a community garden. Join a hobby club where people are busy doing something. Maybe it is a woodworking class or a group that knits blankets for the hospital. When you are focused on creating or helping or learning, you don't have time to dwell on the complaints. You leave those places feeling energized, not drained. 2. High noise and dim light. This next one is about your physical safety and your peace of mind. I am talking about those trendy, overly crowded restaurants, the ones with the hard floors, the loud music, and the very dim lighting. To a younger person, that might feel energetic. But for us, it is often just sensory overload. When it is too loud, you cannot follow the conversation. You find yourself smiling and nodding, but you have no idea what your friend just said. That leads to a feeling of being left out. It leads to social withdrawal. And let's be honest, dim light and uneven floors are a recipe for an accident. We don't want to slip. We don't want to tumble. A safer and much more pleasant alternative is the early bird outing. Go to your favorite bistro at 4 or 5 o'clock. The lighting is usually better, the noise is lower, and the service is much more relaxed. Or try a lunch date. I think of my friend Eleanor. Eleanor loves music, especially jazz, but she stopped going to the clubs downtown because they were dark, smoky, and she was afraid of tripping in the shadows. She made a change. She started attending Jazz in the Park on Sunday afternoons. She could see her friends' faces, she could hear the music clearly, and best of all, she could walk safely on the flat paths. She didn't give up her passion, she just changed her environment to suit her needs. 3. The waiting room of life. This last place isn't a physical building. It is a state of mind. It is the metaphorical waiting room. This is where you go when you stop being the main character in your own story. You sit by the phone, waiting for your children to call. You sit on the porch, waiting for the next doctor's appointment. You are just waiting. When you live in the waiting room, life passes you by. You become passive. You lose your sense of purpose. And purpose, my friends, is the fuel that keeps us young. The safer alternative is the action lane. Always have something on your calendar to look forward to. It does not have to be a trip to Europe. It could be a simple trip to the zoo with your grandson next Tuesday. It could be a painting class starting next month. When you have a plan, you aren't waiting for life to happen to you. You are making life happen. So, we have covered a lot today. It might feel like a big list, but remember, you do not have to change everything at once. Just pick one thing, maybe just one word you will stop saying, or one small walk you will take tomorrow. Aging is not a sunset, it is just a different kind of light. You have worked so hard to get here. You have earned the right to be happy, to be active, and to be loved. If this talk helped you today, please give it a thumbs up. It helps our community grow. I would love to hear from you. Which habit are you letting go of first? Leave a comment below. I read every single one. Subscribe and join our family here. We are in this together. Until next time, keep your heart open. Stay curious. God bless you.